There's nothing more daunting than driving a car or going on a trip in a place that you've never been to before, particularly if it's in a country you've never been before. Now, this is something I've had a little bit experience with. And one thing my husband has had a lot of experience with is something even worse than having to drive in a country he doesn't know. And that's having a backseat driver telling him where to drive in the country that he doesn't know. And, well, that backseat driver is usually me, saying, why didn't you go left? And why didn't you go right? And depending how many other people are in the car, it can get a little bit crazy. Now, when you're faced with a new situation, such as driving in a country you've never seen and all these unfamiliar roads, you know what's wonderful? It's when you can have somebody who's been there before, who can get in a convoy, go ahead of you, and lead the way. Or even somebody with a GPS that can lead the way. But you know what happens is that you're going on your merry way there, following this guy through the streets, through the roads, and you suddenly get a brainwave. You think, you know what? I think that if we take this lane over here, that will be a shortcut to get us to our destination. So you radio and you say, listen, I think we should take this road over here. But the guy in front says, no, 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 I know where I'm going. Just follow me. We're going in this direction. But no, you're too expressive. And you've made up your mind. So you and I both know what you do. You take the turn. And next thing you look around you and what's up? Nobody. You're down in the deep, dark jungles of Tijuana downtown, and you don't know where you're going to, and you've never seen this before, and all these Mexicans are looking at you, so you've just crawled out a piece of cheese. Thinking, typical gringo, doesn't know where he's going, and there you are, driving up and down. And all the while you're thinking, oh Lord, why didn't I just keep track of the car in front of me? It would have been so much easier. And here I am, doing a roundabout the bull ring for the fifth time. You know, Joshua had a very clear command from the Lord when it came time for them to cross the Jordan. And when I read this passage, it just came into line so beautifully. Joshua 3, verse 3. And they commanded the people, saying, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord, your God, and the priests and the Levites bearing it, then you will remove from your place and go on after it. Yet there is going to be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Don't come too near to it, so that you might know the way by which you must go. For you have not passed this way before. That last sentence really struck me as I read it this week. The Lord said, guys, I'm going to take you to the promised land. A land you have not been on before. This is my vision. This is my plan for you. And here you go. I'm going to lead you across the Jordan. But this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to set my ark a distance in front of you. You see, we're going to go on a little convoy here, Israelites. We're going to have our lead car there. We've got the Levites and their little ark there. And they're going to go about 2,000 cubits ahead. And what you're going to do, the reason why I'm doing that is so that you have a very clear sight of them. Because you don't know this territory. You don't know this land. You don't know whether to go left or to go right. So I am the GPS here, guys. I'm going to show you the way to do and the way to go. All you need to do is watch the ark. And that's the title of my message. Watch the ark. It couldn't have been any simpler. And the message for us today remains just as simple. You see, each one of us have had promises that the Lord has given us. Just like the children of Israel were given the promise that the promised land is ahead. What happened? They ended up running around the wilderness for a little while there, while half of them died out. And all along they knew, promise, the promise, the promise, the vision, it's real. And even for you, God has given you promises. God has given you vision. He's given you hope. And even though you faced some storms, even though you faced some dry, horrible times, still that vision has remained. And now you are finally coming to a point in your life where you feel something happening. You're seeing things happen in your circumstance. God has started to give you promises, and you're seeing signs of life. And it's just like when the Lord came to Joshua and said, Joshua, now's the time to cross the Jordan. And so the call has come to you even now in your spiritual walk, where the Lord has said to you, it's no more wilderness. It's enough of the lying around. It's enough of the waiting. The time is to put your keys in the ignition and to follow me, to get across this Jordan. But if you're going to get to where I'm taking you, you're going to need to watch the ark. And this is what is going to make or break you in this point. You see, where are you at right now? At the point of listening to this message, you're a little impatient. You've waited so long for God to do the things He said He would do so long ago. This could relate to a financial vision. This could speak of your calling, of your ministry. And you know God has called you. You know He's got something for you. But every time you try to step forward, it's like you just hit your head against the wall. The way wouldn't open. But now something's happening. And you know what? You've become impatient. You've prepared yourself. You've studied. You've learned some skills. And actually, if you have to think about it, you've become quite comfortable with the road you've walked up until now, haven't you? Look at, yeah, okay, there's been a bit of fire. I mean, couple of things you've had to face there in the wilderness. It's been a bit tough, but you know what? You've learned to handle it. Learned to handle the pressure situations. You've learned to overcome the struggles and stand against the enemy. That's fantastic. And so, on the one hand, you're geared and ready, wanting to get out there, but on the other hand, you feel like, yeah, you know what? I think I can do this. I've handled all this fire. I think I'm ready. Well, we'll find out whether you are really ready or not to take this step across the Jordan today. God has indicated that there's either a resurrection of your vision or a birth of something new. But you see, there are a few things that you're not seeing right now. First thing is, you have never been this way before. It's comfortable in the desert. You've come to rely on your own strengths, be they spiritual, be they natural, be they intellectual, I don't care. You've come to enhance those skills for survival. But you have not been this way before. This is a new road that's going to rely on new skills. You cannot rely on what you've had before. This is going to take a whole new level of dependence on the Lord. Everything is about to come very unfamiliar. Even though this is a vision you've been believing God for so long, it's unfamiliar territory. You know, I can imagine that the Israelites must have laid in bed at night imagining and fantasizing about what the promised land would look like. But the only one who ever saw it with his own eyes was Abraham, and he wasn't there to paint a picture. They may have imagined what it was like, but they'd never seen it. They'd never touched it. They'd never tasted it. All they had was the promise. Do you know, us humans, we get a little bold and arrogant. We think, well, I know what I'm going for. I know what ministry I need to do. Just open the way, Lord, and I can get in there and I can make it happen. Yes, you can. But only if you watch the ark. Only if you follow His direction, in His time, and in His way. Now, perhaps you've come this way before. Now, the Israelites, this isn't the first time they faced the opportunity to go into the promised land. Do you remember what happened the good old last time, 40 years before? Lord brought them to the promised land. He said, come on, guys, it's time to watch the ark. You know what they did? Instead, they watched the circumstances, and they said, Lord, whoa, we can't do this. No way. So the Lord said, okay, no way. Let's put the ark on hold. We'll wait a little while for you guys to die off, and I can work with somebody who really means business. Boom. Death of a vision. That wasn't bad enough. Then they decide to get a bee in their bonnet, and they think, okay, we've missed God. All right, well, never mind, Lord, you're right. Let's run ahead, and let's take the land. The Lord's with us. And they ran into the promised land, and boom, they got defeated, fell flat in their faces. They lost thousands. They messed it up bad. They didn't watch the ark. They didn't follow God's leading. First, they were dragging their feet and weren't wanting to go where He was leading. And then, when He pulled the ark back, they ran ahead of the ark and tried to do it themselves. Now, perhaps perhaps you faced a couple of these situations in your life. Perhaps in ministry, perhaps in believing God for something. Sure, the vision is real. God did promise you. He did tell you that you were going to go this way. But it's on His terms, because you have not been this way before. It's not on your terms. That means when the ark goes 2 paces, you go 2 paces. And when the ark stops, you stop. And if you can follow the ark, if you can watch the ark and take it a step at a time, you will accomplish the vision and the ministry God has for you. But you've had vision and ministry die, death after death after death, and you're getting bitter and angry at God. It's not God's fault you didn't watch the ark, that you didn't follow in His perfect time. So now you're getting a new opportunity. And that is just the grace of the Lord. He always gives us fresh opportunities. And here you stand, just as Joshua stood, ready, eager, excited about the plan, the vision, the hope that the Lord has. How are you going to follow this ark this time? How are you going to make sure that this time you make it where you didn't before? How are you going to make sure that you will make it where others have failed? Well, by the end of this message, you will know what it's going to take. The first thing you need to remember is, do not run ahead of the ark. See, this is when the Israelites decided to do that without God's help. You know, it's like being in that convoy, like I shared ahead of time, and you've got the lead driver there, and the guy behind thinks, you know what? You are just going way too slow for my liking. So he puts foot and overtakes. Fantastic. So you're going double the speed. Where? Double the speed to nowhere. And you see, that's what happens when you become overconfident in your strengths. Oh, yes, I know what the Lord wanted. Of course, I can think 5 steps ahead of the Lord, of course. I mean, obviously. And we are just going to jump ahead, and in we go. You see, this is my mistake. You know, us expressives, we tend to do that. And, you know, my husband Craig, he's traveling along, and he's thinking, you know what, traffic's a little heavy over there, so I think I'm going to take this route today. And I'm busy watching everything, and I'm 5 steps ahead of him, of course, always ahead of him, saying, Lovey, you need to be taking that lane over there, because if you don't go into that lane, you're going to miss this thing. And he's saying, Lovey, I've got it under control. I say, but love, look, if you don't take this lane, you're going to miss your turn off. And he has to say to me, you know what? I'm not going that way today. If you kept quiet and waited for 5 minutes, you would see that. Now, that is a pretty normal conversation during a driving experience in town with us. You've got to love it. It makes our marriage work. But how many times do you treat the Lord that way? Lord, look, I know you said the promised land was like over there, but you better miss the turnoff, and I think you need to get into this lane. Lord, I think you need to open this particular door right now, because this opportunity is looking good, Lord. This is looking so good for me right now. And I just really need you to open this door. And then also, I've got it in control. No, but Lord, do you need some help with the door? You're busy. I can see you're busy. Don't worry about it. Carry on. I'll take care of the door. And you try to push the door open, and you try and shove, and you turn around, and suddenly God's not there. Suddenly the opportunity misses you. You think you'd learn from your lesson, but instead you keep trying to push at this closed door, hit your head against the closed door, try and get something to bash down the closed door. All the while the Lord's sitting 200 paces ahead saying, can we get on with it now? When you're busy finished hitting your head for the 10th time against this brick wall, I've got a paved, beautiful, wide open road for you here. Get into my Cadillac, we can go for a nice, easy drive. It's so much more comfortable than ramming into this wall every 5 minutes. But God, I insist this is the door I must go through. God, I insist this is the door I must go through now, Lord, now. You push and you run ahead. You push and you run ahead. And you say, man, the call of the prophet is so stressful. It's just death after death. Well, no, duh. It's stressful because you're being stupid. God didn't want you to go through this door. That's why it's not opening. It's so logical. So let it go. Let it go. You know, maybe it is a door that he wants to open. But you know, Joshua didn't defeat Jericho and then cross the Jordan. Because Jericho was on the other side of Jordan. We had to cross the Jordan first. Then we could take Jericho. Then we could take the land. It's just a natural order of things. And God has a natural order of things. Perhaps that door is for another time. Watch the ark for His timing, in His way, in His rest. And you know, it's miraculous. It's miraculous. You keep your eye on the ark. It goes to the middle of the Jordan and the waters just stop. It's an easy walk. But you know what happens if you try and jump across the Jordan before the ark gets there? The scripture says that it was in high flood. You take one step, you're down. There goes Colette again. See you later. We're going to cross the Jordan. You've been swept away because you ran ahead of the ark. You didn't wait for God to stop the water. And then you're crying out, Lord, why am I drowning? The Lord's like, well, look, I just don't know how to make this any easier for you. Watch the ark. Wait for me. Wait for me to stop the waters. Wait for me to open the doors. You see, there is a time for action. Don't get me wrong. I'm getting to that point. See, that's the second point. But I don't think that's the problem most people have. Most people have this problem right here. They're so busy diving into the Jordan, they forgot to wait for the ark to stop the waters. And you're getting drowned, and you're getting taken out, and the enemy's destroying you, and you think, where did I miss it? Actually, only if you're mature, you say, where did I miss it? Most people say, man, God really missed it. He must have led me the wrong way. No, God's still on the other side of the Jordan saying, hi, waiting for you here. Here's the starting line. Watch the ark. Let's get in line again. Wait for the doors to open. And if you take the time to wait for opportunities to present themselves, when you do walk through them, it is such a rest. You don't have to bang doors down. You don't have to cry and shake the gates of heaven for things to happen. You don't have to try and jump up and down, throw a temper tantrum and intercede for hours at a time. Oh, Lord, move, move, move. Lord said, I'm moving. Just watch the ark. Follow me a step at a time. And when you do that, the doors swing wide in front of you. You don't even so much have to push it, because the scripture said, behold, I set before you an open door that no man can shut. An open door, it says. You'll be walking along. He will present the opportunities for you. If you were just walking in step with Him. And your eyes will be open to see the circumstances around you. To see, hang on a minute. I keep feeling the Lord leading this way. Even though I have a tendency to want to go that way. I see things happening. I see activity. I see things happening here. This is where the ark is going. This is where I need to go. The waters stopped. Then the people could walk. The Lord didn't say, hey guys, I've got a swimming lesson for you today. I want you to learn some heavy backstroke, some heavy crawl there. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Push, push, push through it. Don't worry if you lose men on the way. I know it's in high flood. I know half of you are going to die, but you're going to make it. You know, He's just not that kind of God. He made it so easy for them. He stopped the waters. He stopped the waters. There you are, sucking yourself up for the Jordan. We can do it, guys. We can face this Jordan. We can face the death. We can face the travail. We face the wilderness. We can face the pain. There doesn't have to be pain. When you do things God's way, there's no pain, okay? Maybe the reason why you had so much pain and struggle and travail is because you didn't watch the ark. The scripture says, my burden is easy. My yoke is light. Guys, when you do it God's way, it's an easy walk. There will always be deaths to the flesh. There will always be circumstances that will seem like Jericho in front of you. But when you do it God's way, those walls come crumbling down without you so much as having to set your hand to one brick. That's God's way. Because when you do things in His power, He moves and you follow. And when He moves and you follow, you release such a power into this earth. You give God a license in your life to do things that are unimaginable, that are way beyond. Who could have imagined Not even Moses himself could have imagined the power God would use to bring Jericho down. Here they were all psyched up and ready to take the land by storm. And God said, well, the first thing I want you to do, guys, is rest. The first thing I want you to do is, well, let's get fit. You know, you guys have been wandering around for a while. Let's do a couple of laps around the Jericho. Let's get you geared up. Let's take a nice Sunday stroll once a day. And I'll take care of the walls. You just follow the ark. I'll tell you what, I'm going to send my ark around Jericho a few times. You guys just follow the ark. And God brought the walls down. And God will bring the walls down in your circumstances. And He will bring miracles. And He will tear down the enemy. And He will build you up. And He will open doors. And He will give you the land that He has promised you. He will give you the calling, the ministry, the vision that He has promised you. Just watch the ark. Now you get those that lag behind. And you always have a few of those around. You see the direction, just like the children of Israel did the first time. And they go, I don't know. That's a whole lot of water going on there in the Jordan. It's not sure if I'm ready for it. You know, I have a water phobia, and I had a really bad experience with water when I was a child. And I just don't know if I can face the Jordan right now, Lord. I think you just come back for me later. And there the Lord is, opening up opportunity after opportunity. And you sit there waiting, Lord, so, when are you going to do something? Hello. The Jordan has stopped. There's no water. It's a dry riverbed. It's a miracle. God has moved. God has shaken the very earth. And you stand there going, I know there's something I should be doing here. There's something that I should be doing here. And you don't do it. You know, it's like that story of the guy standing on the roof and it's flooding. And he says, Lord, save me. And a boat comes along. And he says, no, God will save me. And another boat comes along. And he says, no, guys, go ahead. And a helicopter comes along. And he says, no, it's okay. Go along. God can save me. And he dies and goes to heaven. And he says, Lord, why did you let me drown? He said, I sent you a couple of boats and a helicopter. What more do you want from me? But you want this whole picture. You think, well, God's called me to the ministry. So what I need the full map. I need the full picture. Lord, I need you to tell me how to cross the Jordan, how to take down Jericho, the first land we should take, whether we should take it to the left or the right, with how many people, with what weapons, with which tactic. And if you can help me with that, and I have a very full, clear-cut picture of the next 10 years, I'll take the first step. Well, no wonder you've been around the wilderness for 40 years. And, well, I've got some news for you. Get used to the taste of sand in your food, because you're going to be staying there for the next 40 years. Because when God opens a door, then it's the time for you to walk. See, there's a time to wait. When the ark's in front of you, when it stops, you know what? Then you stop. But when it lifts up and it moves, then you move. And you know, when the Jordan water stops flowing, it's time to move. Out of nowhere, people start calling you. Out of nowhere, suddenly you find opportunities coming at you. And you sit there thinking, I wonder what I should do with that. You've only been waiting your whole life for this opportunity. It's only what you've asked God for all the time. You've been nagging and crying out to Him and say, Lord, do something. Lord, do something. The Lord puts 5 open doors in front of you and you go, I wonder if the Lord's going to do something. And short of come down out of heaven and shake you, I can imagine He gets very frustrated with us sometimes. And then the problem is, circumstances move on. Times change. The ark's moving. It's moving. You see, you're either going to go in step with the ark and get in God's perfect timing, or you're going to miss your time of visitation. You're going to miss this open door. And you're going to go around that mountain again and again. And God's going to, through His grace, because He is gracious, He's going to open another door. Do you know what the problem is? Is that somewhere along this journey, there was a door that you missed at the very beginning. At the very beginning, just like the children of Israel, when Moses sent the 12 spies and they missed God. And you know what? That time is gone. And since then, the Lord has actually opened up many more doors for you. Do you know what your problem is? You're still waiting for that first door to open again. You're still waiting for that first opportunity to come knocking again. Let me break it for you. Let me make it really simple. Let it go. It's gone. It's locked. It's in history. It's past. It's never going to open again. The circumstances have changed. Times have changed. Plans have changed. God has moved on. The ark moved on without you. Now you have an opportunity for a second ride to a new destination, but that first destination is gone. Let it go. You will spend the next 40 years wondering why God isn't opening the door, when in fact He is. He's just not opening the door you want. Because you see, like the children of Israel, you realized, oh, we missed Him. Quickly, we need to take the land. Surely God will open the door now. But what did God say to them? No. You will under no circumstances see that land. If you missed an opportunity some time ago and you failed, I have no words of comfort for you except deal with it. Deal with it and let it go. It's over. Because for as long as you dwell on that, for as long as you look to the past and the old doors that you missed out, you are going to miss the big, fat, huge welcome sign to the new open door that God has for you right now. You're going to miss it again and again and again. Don't lag behind. Take your eyes off the failures. Take your eyes off the doors you missed. Reality. We're human. We'll fail. And God expects us to fail sometimes. He knows we're going to fail sometimes. That's why we rely on His grace and His love. But if you missed an open door, it's not going to be open to you ever again. Let it go. God has perhaps got a better open door, a bigger open door, something more fantastic. So let it go. And be open. Keep your eyes open. Watch for the circumstances. Watch for the signs all around you. Wake up. You're so busy looking like this behind you, you're not seeing the ark in front of you. And you're going to end up going the wrong way. Let go of the failures. Let go of the mistakes. Let go of the things you missed and you failed where you made wrong choices. It's life. Deal with it. Move on. God is bigger than your mistakes. He's bigger than your failures. And you know what? He has long forgotten about it. So it's about time that you do too. There's a job to be done in the kingdom of God. There's a vision that God wants to fulfill in your life. Let's get on with that vision. Let's not lag behind any longer. You know, Joshua only got his full direction concerning Jericho after he had crossed the Jordan. You're not going to get the whole plan. Sorry, if you tend to be a little analytical and want the whole picture before you step out, you're going to struggle with this one. The Lord only told Joshua how exactly he was going to handle Jericho after they had crossed the Jordan. One step at a time. Let's just get across the Jordan first. Walk through the first open door. Take the first opportunity. Don't sit there and think yourself out of an opportunity. Well, this is a great opportunity. I wonder what would happen if I took this opportunity. If I took this opportunity, would this mean that I could have that opportunity? And if I didn't take that opportunity, would that close it? Oh, no. You're going to tie yourself up in knots and you're going to miss God's time. When you see a circumstances out of the ordinary that you cannot deny, okay, God did something here. That's a time to just get up, put your mind on the back burner, and to move forward and do. If you don't take that opportunity with everything that is in you, it will pass you by. And so we're starting to see this balance. On the one hand, don't run ahead of God and decide to race the ark to the destination. Just watch the ark. Follow His direction. And on the other hand, when He opens a door, when He brings up a circumstance, with everything that is in you, get in there and do it. If God says, this is the direction I've given you, then that's the time to work hard, to push through, to give your spirit, your soul, your body into this entire direction. Don't sit there and think about how wonderful this direction is and then do nothing. It's a time for action. When you see it, jump in, take hold, push forward. Now's your time to run. Now's your time to follow. And as you do, you'll see God is in control. You'll see that when you take that first step, the next will be right on behind it. And the revelation will come. And as you take that step, oh, what do you know? I bumped into so-and-so this week, and they were looking for that. Isn't that nice? And I invited them to my home. And when they came, you know something? They brought so-and-so with who I haven't seen in years. So I ended up ministering to them. And then I went over there, and the Lord opened this opportunity, and that person phoned me, and that person got hold of me because like a domino effect. You take that first opportunity, it will follow the rest. But if you keep getting wall after wall after wall, then you're not going through the open doors that God's put before you. Be aware of the circumstances, and as you take it slowly, the picture will become clear. As they stepped across the Jordan, as they faced Jericho, they started to get a very clear picture of the land that they were going to possess. They started getting a very clear idea of how they were going to defeat these people. There's just two mistakes most folks make. Waiting for the full picture first. Listen, in all the years of ministry we've been in, deal with it. You're never going to get the full picture first. God doesn't work that way. Because if you get the full picture first, you think of a couple of points and principles he's left out to add to that picture. And it gives the enemy just too much to come in and mess with the plans. So God will give it to you a step at a time. If he did this for Moses, for Joshua, for Paul, you know what? You and I are in good company. Don't wait for the full picture. Just take the one step that he's given you to take, and the next one will open. And the second one, of course, is running ahead and trying to take the land alone, leaving the ark behind. You don't follow the ark, you're not taking the land. If you don't watch where God is leading, you're going to miss your time, and you're going to miss the direction that he has for you. So keep your eyes fixed on it and take a step at a time. Assess yourself. Come on. I've shared a lot of pictures, a lot of illustrations, but where are you, Joe Soap, at right now at this time? Has God made some promises to you? I want you to think of all the visions God's given you, all the promises he's given you over the last while, the things that he said he would do for you or with you. Has he opened some doors for you? I really want you to think about your circumstances right now. Has he given you some revelation? Have you suddenly bumped into someone or given a new responsibility, whether that's at work or whether it's in the church or wherever you're involved? Have you suddenly been given a new responsibility? Have you suddenly met somebody, or you've been given a job to do, or somebody's handed something to you, or something out of the ordinary has kind of happened in your usual humdrum normal life? The Lord suddenly out of the blue gives you this revelation and this new direction. A theme starts coming up. Perhaps suddenly in your emails, this theme starts coming up again and again, and you start seeing God's putting his finger here in this direction. Think about your circumstances. Are you starting to feel a revival, a resurrection of some of perhaps even old visions that you had, or maybe even some new visions that God's given you? And you know what? It's time for you to step through those doors. That's God opening a door for you. Can't you see? Now perhaps you have a clear picture of the vision God's given you, and this door's opened up, and it looks nothing like the vision God's given you. You know you need to go right, and this door opens to the left, and you're thinking, okay. But you know what? God knows something you don't. And perhaps this door seems strange to you. Perhaps you can't figure it out for now. But if you take that door that God has opened, if you would just watch the ark, he will lead you exactly to your destination. But if you struggle with the ark, ignore the ark, push the ark over, you're going to miss it. No, Lord, I'm telling you, we need to go right. No, lovey, I've got it in control. I know which route we need to go. I know you think we're going this route, but I'm taking a new route there this time. No, lovey, I think we need to go here. You're going to miss it. No, I'm in control. I know where I'm going. I know why I need to go this way. And it may not make sense to you right now, but I see something there. You don't. There's traffic up ahead. There's an accident over there. There's a problem over there. That road is blocked. And so to get to our destination, we need to take a route that is maybe longer, but it's going to get us there. What are you going to trust? Are you going to really trust the Lord? That if he opens the door and says, walk through it, that even though it seems so foreign to what you think your vision needs to be, yet he knows better, that in the end, it's going to lead to that final destination. Don't drag your feet. Don't drag your feet and say, well, we'll see what happens. If you do that, the door will close, and you will sit waiting and waiting and waiting for God to do something in your circumstance. God, why haven't you done something in my circumstance? God's saying, I have done much in your circumstance. But every time I open the door, you tell me you don't want it. Because you don't trust me. Is God opening up doors? Are there opportunities? Have you been given jobs to do? Then tell me this, have you done them with all your might? Have you really applied yourself? Not just in your work, I mean in your spirit, soul, and body. Have you really applied yourself? Have you put your heart into it, your emotions into it, your love into it, your whole everything into it, 100%? Have you crossed that Jordan with the song in your heart, with hope and expectation, knowing that you're on the right track? Because if you haven't, you know what? You know, when even Jericho, never mind the rest of the promised land yet. So if that's where you are right now, then you know what to do. It's time for you to step forward. Now, what if you're one of those that have been so busy running around trying to find directions and visions and blah, 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 and God's put you in a position where you have to wait? Now, what should you be doing? You know what? It's time for you to get quiet into His presence, to get silence, and to get revelation. It could well be that you were one of those hitting your head against the wall and ended up going and pushing through in a direction God did not lead. And now you're hopelessly lost in downtown Tijuana, not knowing where you're going. You know what the best thing is to do? Is to wait and let God find you again. Stop. Stop. The more you try and go left, right, and push and accelerate, the more lost and the more frustrated you're going to get. Stop it. Stop and wait. Wait until you see the ark. Once again, come up in your vision. Wait until you get revelation. You know what's funny? As an open door could be staring you right in the face. But you're so busy running around you don't see it. The ram could be caught right there in the thicket. You just stopped for 5 minutes of your trying and your striving to see what God's doing. And perhaps there's not an open door right now. Perhaps there's not an opportunity right now. Perhaps God wants this time just for you and Him. Maybe there's a couple of things you need to learn before you can embark on this journey. Perhaps you're a couple of tools short on your tool belt there that you need to get before you're ready for this journey. You know what? Enjoy the rest while you can, because sooner or later it's going to be over. You're going to be up and running again. So where are you? Are you so busy running helter-skelter you don't know where you are? Just take a breath. Let's stop. Come into His presence. And you know what? When you look up, you think, I can't believe I missed it. All along, this door has been staring me right in the face. I've been running past it so many times, doing 100 other things, that I never stepped across the threshold. I was so busy helping everybody pack up the tents and shine everybody's shoes and taking care of the kids and worrying about dinner that I forgot to follow the others across the Jordan. It's right there. Stop. Stop and wait. Get into His presence. Get revelation. And if you can come to that place of rest, circumstances are going to pop up. You're going to start getting revelation. The Lord's going to start showing you things in the Word, and you're going to start saying, really, Lord? Is that really what you want me to do? If you have no clear vision, no clear direction, and there's no doors opening, you know what? Wherever you are, give out what you can. Minister to those that come to you. Just be ready to follow the ark when you see it. You know what? It's simple. God is a powerful but a very simple God. He hasn't made it complicated for us. Where are you right now? Come on. I guarantee you're starting to see some circumstances you never saw before. You're starting to identify some revelations that you just put on the back burner. What are you doing about it? What are you doing? Why are you so busy running around and getting yourself all tied up over things that don't even matter? Thinking that somehow that helps you towards your goal. No, it doesn't. Keep running past it. Come on. Let's take hold of the promises God has given us. Just up ahead is the promised land. And you know what? He's promised you will overcome. You will take it. You will get your inheritance. Right now, take that step across the Jordan. Do it in boldness. Do it in confidence. And then you're going to see God do things in your life that you didn't think were possible.